All right, well, we will get started here. Welcome everyone to the second Gerber Scout Reservation Roundtable. I'm glad to see so many participants on the other side. We will sure talk about female campers. That's one thing, yes, I do believe we will be talking about. There'll be a question and answer section at the end. If you do have a question, I would ask that you utilize the chat box. At the bottom of your screen, there's a three button thing that says more. If you click that, there's a place to click the chat room and just put in there that you have a question or you have a comment or whatever, and I will call on you and you can unmute yourself and ask your question. In the meanwhile, let's get on with it. So, one moment. Sorry. I guess I'm not as organized as I thought I was. Okay, so we still have a number of positions available up at camp. I'm looking for a few more aquatics individuals. If you have any scouts, you know, the best scouts in your troop that still are looking for some summertime employment, we have some aquatics positions available. We can train them if they need. Otherwise, we have archery senior staff that we're looking for. That would be similar to an area director position. High adventure staff that will they'll be running all of the cope climbing and high adventure activities that we do for summer camp. Eagle Quest director, I'm really trying to identify someone that is an adult over the age of 25 to work with the team that we have there. We have a large team recruited so far, but I'd like to have somebody that can work with the adults and help with the introduction to outdoor leadership skills training that we'll be offering during the summer. Eagle Quest and a lot of the other areas, we only have one more staff position available. Some of these we may or may not fill. It depends on how many people we have end up coming up to join us. So ERC, handicraft, scoutcraft, rifle range needs a couple more people. Trading post needs a couple more people. We are looking for health officers on both sides of the camp. Health officers, since we are so close to emergency response, there is very small requirements for the national camp accreditation that requires the health officer to be trained in. So if you know someone that's an EMT or has or even a nurse that works in a school that has the summers off that may be interested in the summer job, you know, I could always use some help there. Charlie's looking for another assistant ranger. Dining hall staff, we're almost to capacity. We're looking to hire 7 total, and we have 5 of the 7, so we need 2 more people there. Food service director and cooks. I'm currently in discussion with I would say probably about 4 out of the 9 school systems surrounding camp, and they are excited to help us identify and recruit a number of the cooks and food service directors. So that's a big plus. I mean, that's a much further position than we were, you know, even just a week ago. We may even host an open house for a lot of those individuals to come up next weekend when we host the first in-person training for staff, and show them the kitchen and get them excited about the summer and hopefully lock in the number of people we need. On the Cub Scout side, we're still looking for a couple individuals. We need an assistant area director and a superintendent chief. You know, the Cub Scout side is doing really well with employment. and what have you. I will say that that working on staff does bring great things to your troop. So I just wanted to show a quick little video to highlight some of those things.
I can't even describe how much Gerber Scout Camp has changed my life. I've been working here for 6 years. The friendships that I've made are going to last me a lifetime. The people I met in the first day I was here, I still work and know those people.
Gerber Scout Camp is a unique environment when you're working on staff because you're working with a team of people who also have the same mindset. They're not there for the paycheck. They're there to make a difference. They're there to impact the future of America.
Being on staff here and helping the kids that in the ways I have, it's affected every facet of my life in a positive way. Whether it be leadership in sports or leadership at school, every part of my life was positively affected by this.
The biggest thing is when you just walk around areas and you see those kids learning. You see them changing and literally growing up right before your eyes. You can't get that in another job. You could be doing a task for a paycheck where you're just doing the same thing and not really making an impact. But working camp staff, working one summer of camp staff, the difference that you make in so many kids' lives is a real special feeling. When you walk away from this summer, you walk away knowing that you made a difference in so many kids' lives. I don't think I can count the number of times where an adult leader has come up to me and said, you've had this great impact on my scouts and really made a difference in their lives.
I don't know if I would have stayed in the scouting movement. I don't know if I would have been an Eagle Scout if I didn't work on Gerber Scout Reservation.
All right, so I just want to bring that up. Is there anybody that has any comments or anything about staffing for this? Questions, comments, concerns about staffing for this summer? If so, please just put a little message in the chat box, and we can address it right now. Brian Boyer, you have a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, I was just wondering if scouts can work for less than the full term, or if they only have like 1 week available. Are you still looking for help?
Absolutely. So we have a program called CIT, which is counselor and training. I'd encourage them. When we employ our staff for the entire summer, it's easier to keep them as a paid staff member for the entire summer. When we start getting in the business of paying somebody for 1 week worth of camp, it's really kind of tough. So that's why we have the counselor and training program to allow them to come up and work for a week and learn the ropes and be a part of the team and build that family network and maybe possibly coming back the next year and join us for the entire summer. Thank you for the question, Brian. Any other comments, questions, or concerns about camp staff this summer? Sean, go ahead. Age for a CIT. So Sean asked, what is the age for a CIT? A CIT is typically 14 or 15 years old. There's a number of volunteers that are working to identify a stronger program for our CITs. And this summer, I'm really hoping to develop that because they are the future of our camp. They're the future of our staff. They're the future of your boys' experience down the road. Don, you have a question. You're muted, Don. Don, you're muted. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay,
There you go.
it's me. Don, if you have an 18-year-old who has college orientation for 2 or 3 days, can you make them work with staff, or can it work?
If they need a couple days off, we understand completely,
Okay.
right?
All right.
You
Yep.
know,
All right.
I get it. I was in that boat, 20 some years ago. There's
That's
things
fine. Yep.
you
Okay.
can't make. So we understand that, and especially with a lot of the discussion about schools getting out later this summer, that's going to be interesting as well. So.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Any other questions? Well, I can't tell you how much that having a staff member, Joe Singerling, you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, no question. Just encourage the youth. It's a great summer camp experience. Employers, when they see that on their resume, if they can get along with a diverse youth staff and even some cranky old adults like me, it's a great experience for them and great team building. But also look for those grandparents or retirees. I didn't serve on staff till I had already taught for 37 years. So encourage those individuals to contact Ryan and make a difference in a youth's life.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joe. The other thing that we are looking for is commissioners, camp commissioners. And I'm working currently with the council commissioner to develop a training program where an adult who's interested in the commissioner aspect, or maybe stepping down as a scoutmaster or moving on as their kids are going to college or whatever, but still wants to stay connected with scouting, we're going to develop a program this summer where adult volunteers could come up and spend a week in camp for free, be a unit commissioner, and walk away trained as a unit commissioner to go serve our units the other 71 weeks in the year. And I really think that that's a great partnership between the Field Service Council and the summer camps that we've never had in a number of years. With the position I am in with program director for the Field Service Council and the reservation director for the camp and advisor to the lodge, that creates a lot of advantages to us as a local Field Service Council. And I encourage all of us to try and, utilize that advantage the best we can. All right, thank you, Joe. Any other comments, questions, concerns about staffing for summer camp this summer? Seeing none, I'm going to move on. So I want to let you all know that both leader guidebooks are published online. If you go to the michiganscouting.org website and you go to forms and resources and you scroll all the way down till you start seeing the Gerber logo, right underneath the Gerber logo, there's 2 links that identify the paths to see the PDF versions of the leader guidebooks for both the Cub Scout Betty Ford Adventureland and the Gerber Scout Reservation Scouts BSA Summer Camp. Now, I would like just to take a quick moment and flip through these and just highlight a couple of key areas in it. So you notice at the very beginning, we have this mission statement, and I don't know how many of you know the individual by the name of Mike Solgrove, but he was a scout executive for the President Ford and Gerald R. Ford Field Service Council in the past. He's brought a lot of great things to our summer camp up at Gerber Scout Reservation, and he basically wrote a legendary service manual for the entire state that in the very beginning hosts this mission statement for the Boy Scouts for us to operate under. And I just want to let you know that we're going to live to this mission statement the best we can this summer. Our staff is already preparing. We've had 2 webinar staff trainings just like you're on tonight for our staff, and the last one we rehearsed our second time of repeating this mission statement, and we're going to live to it the best we can. Now, inside this leader's guide. There is all kinds of great information. There's some history about the camp. If you've never been to the camp and you'd like to know more about it, I'd dive into that. It's got all of our program areas and the new aspects that we have for each of the different program areas. It kind of dives into each of them a little bit. Talks about the Order of the Arrow. Order of the Arrow, as you know, for Gerber Scout Reservation and Gerber Scout Camp, it's a staple in our program. You know, a lot of our other camps do not run the Ordeal and Brotherhood programming in camp, and we're the only one in the state of Michigan that does. And I just got to tell you that I'm very proud of this. You know, I'm very proud to see our lodge working close and tight with our camp, because summer camp is the heartbeat of scouting, and the Order of the Arrow is a great facet that helps foster that relationship. There is a lot of training opportunities for all the adults. I will tell you that I went through and put in all of the adult training sessions into the Black Pug registration. So I'd encourage any adults that you do have coming to camp to try and sign up for some of those before they come to camp. So that way we at least have an idea of what adults might be participating when, similar to how we have our merit badges with our scouts. It's got the daily schedule, the activity schedule, this brand new prerequisites page where all the merit badges and activities are listed by alphabetical order. We went through and with the help of the advancement committee for the council, identified difficulties for the merit badges. So you'll see that a C merit badge is more geared towards your first year scouts, and an A merit badge is more geared towards your older scouts. We're bringing back some of the camp-wide activities that we do. You know, in the past, I remember when I was camp staff that we used to do Mission Impossible, and the entire staff dressed up in BDUs and had a big adventure out behind the rifle range. And, you know, we did a lot of other things. And, you know, we're trying really hard to bring back some of those staples in our program that we used to produce. So, look through this, read through this. One thing I'll also note that there is opportunity when you go into your registration. Your scouts have the ability to select the purchase of a t-shirt before they come to camp. That's our camp t-shirt right there. You'll see on the right-hand side. There's a place where you can write your unit number in it and the week that you're attending when you get to camp. Those t-shirts will be available to you through your troop guide when you walk in the gate. Along with the troop photo. So the troop photo is a little bit more difficult to find. It's only under the adult registration. So if you guys as a troop decide you want to order a multiple number of troop photos for your scouts or your unit or what have you, if your unit participates in the pre-order troop photo order, you automatically get one 8x10 free, and then any additional photos you'll receive past that. So you still have to order a photo to get the free photo. It's like a BOGO. We talked about camp staff. There's a bunch of information in here on you know, what type of leadership you're looking for in regards to your summer camp participation. There's information on what to bring, what to do before you get here. The big one that I highlighted, Mary Thomasa, sorry, made mention of it. Aaron Gatch and I just in the last on the trail video put out some information that there's campership availability. I would encourage every unit leader to make this available to every scout. There's a lot of scouts out there, and they're very humble, and some families may not think that they need the support of camperships, but we have them available. Let's use them. Get them in as quick as you can. I will tell you that there's a worksheet. You can see this here. It's kind of printed in the actual guide, but there's a link that you can click on in the guide that'll take you to an online worksheet you can fill out, so that when you go and actually submit your campership, you don't have to be sitting there fumbling trying to fill everything in, okay? So it's kind of a helpful tool. I will get to your questions here just in a minute, just as soon as I get through this. Another thing, camp policies and procedures, those are all pretty standard. Please make sure to read through that. One thing that's new this year that I added is in the very back of the book, every day there's space for, as a unit leader, that you can utilize to record information. So I'm going to try and have these printed. I'm trying to get the Order there Lodge to help support us in printing these in pocket size like we used to, so that you can carry these around, and when you come to the leader meetings, you can take your notes and figure out what you need to do when and what have you. But each day it has a space for you to record that information. And not only that, but what fun activity of the day you're going to do as an adult leader. You know, you guys should be having just as much fun as the youth are having each day. A camp map, and then lastly on Saturday, it's got a bunch of items that you should think about before you leave. Like, did you get your patches? Did you get your checkout packet? Did you turn in your evaluations, and so on? For the Betty Ford Adventureland, the Cub Scout side, for any Boy Scout troop that's out there right now, please make sure that your Cub Scout packs that you recruit from are looking at this. I mean, we've spent a lot of time to make these more exciting and fun and user-friendly for the Cub Scouts, to get more Cub Scouts to go to camp. Because if they go to camp, guess what happens? They're going to stay in scouting. They're going to come to your Boy Scout troop. They're going to be a part of your summer camp program. So we highlighted again each of the different areas and done a lot to improve this piece. We've talked about, you know, basically everything, how it works, where it works, what you do, when you do it. It's got a daily schedule for each type of program. If you're coming as a Cub Scout or if you're coming as a Weeblo. Has a whole laundry list of Q&A questions that most parents would ask. You know, even as a Boy Scout leader, you may be able to take some of these questions in the Cub Scout manual and utilize them to answer questions for the Boy Scout side, because a lot of the programming and aspects are the same on both sides of the camp. So make sure to take a look at this. There is a nice piece in here that we added to the Cub Scout manual that we did not put in the Boy Scout one, which is the summer camp outcome study. This is a piece that the national organization helped us put together, which kind of really goes through and identifies what a scout gets out of summer camp. So if when you're talking to your units or your parents, you can utilize that as some aspects. On the Cub Scout side, the t-shirt is the same. We're going to be doing pre-ordered t-shirts, but the kids will be able to tie-dye their t-shirts while they're at camp. So that's kind of a cool little different piece to it. Same with troop photos. You know, a lot of the similar stuff, you know, what to do before you get there, what to bring, and camperships and policies and procedures and so on. So at this time, I'll open it up to some questions, comments, and concerns about the leaders' manuals. And we'll start with, let's see here. We'll start with Brian Boyer. You had a question. Go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we're on schedule for merit badges to go for registration on March 5th.
March 6th is actually the date.
Good, because we have a meeting on the 5th.
I think it's March 6th at 8 a.m. I'm doing everything I can. I noticed that Blackbud just updated a number of merit badges for the changes for merit badges. I know one of them was fly fishing, so I got to go back through and do another retake through the course catalog and just double check that for 100%. I noticed that just you bring up a good question, a good comment. I'll let everybody know this, that I made a mistake. If you looked in your leader's guide, under the page where it talks about the prerequisites, you know, we had to rewrite everything for a lot of these merit badges and schedules and what have you, and some of the things got carried over that no longer exist, like canoeing used to require a CPR certification or, you know, understanding, and that no longer exists. So I'm working on trying to get that information up and live for you to help you with that. But I'll just admit that I made a mistake, and I apologize. But
is there a new book coming out? Because one of the parents expressed concern that there was not as many Eagle required merit badges as they thought.
Absolutely. So I'll address the Eagle required merit badges right now. So in the past, over the time that I started and going through and reviewing the hundreds of pages of evaluations, there was a lot of concern about the staff not being prepared and us not performing merit badges in the right fashion. And a lot of them all highlighted around those Eagle Scout required merit badges, specifically the citizenship merit badges. So one of the things that we worked on doing this summer was, last summer we had 67 merit badges that we offered, and I reduced that down to 38 because in 2004, which was the year that I left as operations manager of the Gerber Scout Reservation staff, we were serving about the same number of kids, and we were hosting merit badges at the tune of 31 merit badges per summer. So we're still doing more merit badges than we did in 2004 with this less number of kids per summer camp. But we increased the program staff more closer to the 1-to-1 ratio. So in last summer, we had almost a 1-to-3 ratio of merit badges per staff. This summer, we're gonna have closer to the 1-to-1 ratio of merit badges per staff. So that way, the programs that are being delivered and the merit badges that are being taught are stronger. They're more involved. The kids are getting a better experience. And as we turn the staff culture around, as we build that family of camp staff and that legendary Scout summer experience, we'll bring some of those back. But this summer, I've really got to just drive into building a stronger staff, making them one, building a stronger program, building a stronger dining hall experience, building a stronger summer camp. So one of the things is this summer we've reallocated the sheer number of merit badges to better reflect the summer camp experience. The merit badges that we are offering this summer are closer to a summer camp experience merit badge. So there are difference between merit badges that a troop would do very well and merit badges that are better done at a camp. And we focus more on those merit badges that are better done in the woods. So, so yes, there are fewer Eagle required merit badges, but there are a lot more older Scout experience activities and involvement for those older Scouts, because that was another thing that was addressed during the listening sessions and the things that we had gone through to develop what we did. That we didn't have a strong older Scout program, and so we addressed that by changing the Cope and Climbing area to the High Adventure area and expanded that offer. Does that help, Brian?
Yeah, I think so. My bigger concern is that it's not going to change. That what's there is there, right? That's what they're signing up for. We're not going to get to camp and find a new merit badge that they really wanted.
Right. What's there right now is what's going to be offered this summer. Absolutely, you're correct. I mean, we can work if things end up filling up and there's and there's space available and what have you. I can work to work with your unit to address some of those things, but it's going to be really tough for us. I'm really trying to build up the summer camp team and turn things around. And there's just things that we've got to do to make that happen. So,
Ryan, can I ask one quick question that piggybacks to his question?
Sure.
The question is, and I know my Scoutmaster had emailed you about it. I have two Scouts that are aged 14, 15. I don't know if they're both 15 or one's 14, one's 15, that are older Scouts, and they both really, really would love to do the lifeguard training that used to be offered. Like my son Kevin, well, Kevin, he did the lifeguard training last year. That's all he did at summer camp. And they would love to, and I know you had mentioned you might look into offering it at a different week.
Yeah, I'm working with Jay, who's our aquatics volunteer for the MCC. We're looking to offer that before camp.
Yeah.
And once I get that information locked in, I'll let everybody know. But I think it's going to be over a course of 2 weekends. The hardship we have with offering the Red Cross certification is that we only had 3 scouts over the entire summer, roughly, that took that activity and participated in it. So when you've got 1,700 campers and only 3 of them take it, those resources could be better utilized in other facets. So, all right. Miller J, you had a question about camperships.
I just was curious whether typically the campership funds are fully allocated, or just trying to gauge this in terms of how much we would encourage those who might need it.
I would encourage anybody that needs it to turn one in. The more that we have to go through, the more that we can better allocate. The problem is that we'll get a bunch in, and then a bunch of people will come to us late, so we'll have to hold off on some of the funds so that we can still allocate some of those funds to the people that give them to us late. And if we can get everybody to work towards closer to that April 1st deadline, we can do a better job of allocating those funds to its fullest.
I guess this is sort of a psychological question, because many people will say, well, I need it, but I don't need it as bad as other people. But if we know that some are not being used at the end, then people may feel more free to make the request.
I would say it doesn't hurt to turn it in. Okay. It's kind of like any type of sales position. It's always a no until you ask, right? So encourage the ones that may need it or could use it to at least work through the process. And as scoutmasters or committee chairs, I encourage each and every one of you to encourage those to apply if they need it, because there's a lot of people that work really hard to raise those funds to make those available, and I'd hate to see us not being able to utilize them to their fullest capacity. All right, Mary, you had another question.
Yeah, I just had to unmute myself. So I wrote it up there, but I have 21 young men going to camp as of now. But I have a linked girls troop that are planning on going. Right now I have 3 of the 5 girls have already paid their deposit and pick classes. The other 2 are picking classes but haven't paid their deposit yet. Our question is, how do I request that the boys troop and the girls link troop have the same campsite? We have some of our leaders are dual. They have that is a piggyback question too. Second question is, as far as second child discount for sibling discount, because I have a couple boys that have sisters that are going. So 2 questions.
So the first question regarding requesting your campsite, I believe, I'm just looking here, under the outdoor adventures, and you scroll on to forums and resources, I want to say that there was a form regarding campsite requests. I could be totally wrong, again, being new to this whole thing.
There is.
There is.
Well, when you register your troop, you can put your first, second, third choice, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be with a certain troop.
Oh, sure. Well, I would encourage you just to put in there a note along with that. Like if you put, campsite, whatever, and then put some information that, hey, linked troop X.
Okay.
Whatever, otherwise I would encourage you to just send an email to Charlie Brown, our reservation ranger,
okay,
before June 1st, so that he has that information and knows that when it comes around to it, so that he can better plan and orchestrate the units when they come in to utilize.
Email
What was the other question?
What was that?
You said you had a second question?
Yeah, so I emailed Charlie Brown before June 1st. That's what you said, right?
Yep, email Charlie Brown before June 1st.
Okay, and then for the sibling discount, the $25 sibling discount, so I have a couple, at least 2, maybe 3 boys that sisters are also going. So because when I haven't put my girl troop in yet, I have the troop numbers. I'm just waiting until I have the 2 more girls, because we want to go as a whole troop, not as a contingent. And so I'm hoping I can have all that information by tomorrow. But my question is, because I have some siblings that, how would I key in the sibling discount, because they would be put in a different troop? If that
doesn't matter. There's a button when you put in the individual's information for your participants. There's a box to select for the sibling discount.
So it'll register that even though their sibling is not registered in the same troop?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, good. And
all right.
then,
you had another question?
Well, that I did that went along with it, but now I lost the question. But it all had to do with the girls and the boys linked, so maybe we'll come up with it later.
Okay, great. Jay Butler, you had a question.
Yeah, I had heard that there was a possibility of taking some merit badges at a neighboring camp or something like that from one of the parents in our troop.
Okay, so one of the things that we're doing is it's called the Older Scout Reservation. And what it's going to consist of is that each day the scouts will do a different thing. So, like for instance, maybe Monday they'll go tubing and water skiing. Tuesday they might do horseback riding. But the thing is that each day is a different experience from the 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. time frame. They'll end up losing their free period, and there's only available to 10 scouts for the entire week. So there's that, and then the other piece that we're partnering with the WASPy next door is the ATV certification. That's only available for 6 scouts per week. I'm limited by the number of scouts that we can send over to their property to do that stuff, but those are the only real 2 items that that we're doing in partnership with them. They're coming over to utilize some of our stuff, and we're utilizing some of their stuff.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, that clarifies it. Thank you very much.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Don, you had another question.
Did you say John?
Don Kennedy.
No, I don't.
Okay. Jennifer Siegel.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions actually. One, the first aid merit badge says about bringing CPR with them. Is that a new requirement? I don't recall when my scout went through having to be pre-qualified for CPR before he took the first aid merit badge.
Yeah, we will do a CPR course, not where they'll get actually certified in CPR, but they'll get the understanding of it during camp. Again, like I mentioned before, when we wrote the book, we transferred a lot of the information from previous merit badges that they had in there, and we missed a couple things. So CPR does ask for a, not that they have to be certified in CPR, but they have to understand CPR, and we'll do that during camp. Does that help?
Yep. One other question about the ATV classes. Do they need a special riding class prior to going to camp?
No, they don't need a special riding class, but there will be a form that we'll have up online that they'll have to fill out. Same goes for the Older Scout Adventure. There will be another form for that as well for the horses. So I just have not received those forms from next door yet.
Okay, thank you.
Craig, do you have a question?
See if that works.
There
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so I've had some parents find the grid schedule for the merit badge classes a little confusing.
Okay.
So I pointed them towards the activity schedule but that's only in the leader's guide. Would it be possible to put the 2019 merit badge scheduling worksheet onto the forms and resources page?
The one that I developed that's blank and they can fill in the squares?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I mean, that again, that's something that we never had before, but I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my gosh, man, if I was a unit leader, you know, it is almost unbearable trying to figure out what scout's going to be doing what when. And so that's why I went through and created that fill in the blank sheet for you guys and sent it out to you the best I could. I'm trying to get through and get everything going as quick as I can. But again, I'm writing everything from pretty much scratch. So
can I give you a comment on what I did and it worked really well?
Absolutely, Mary. What did you do?
The activity schedule that you have printed up there showing us right now, I printed a copy of that for every single scout along with the merit badge prereq list. And so I gave every scout both of those and also the map of the camp. Yes, that. So I made that merit badge prereq list back to back. And then I had a copy of the activity schedule and a copy of the map. And I gave both those pages to each scout. And then I gave them a highlighter and they just highlighted which class they wanted, which time. It worked really well.
That's a great suggestion, Mary. Thank you.
Craig, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Joel Shoemaker, you had a question. All right, we'll move on. Brian, did you have another question? You said,
well, it was just about whether you're going to auto-link troops if they have the same number, like 331B and 331G.
We're not going to auto-link those. I would encourage you to, like I told Mary, to get an email to Charlie Brown prior to June 1st, making sure that we've got some type of note that you guys want to camp together. Okay. We're doing our best to with this change, but we need all the help we can get. So, Miller, Jay.
So this is John. So this is a follow-on to the question about the auto linking. Our troop is we have a linked female troop that should be in place by the time summer camp rolls around. How do we indicate that? Right now we're just putting in numbers. How do we indicate they're a separate troop? And I know from a administrative standpoint, you at council know, but how do we indicate that?
Yeah, you would register your girl linked troop as a separate unit. And to do so, in that last email I sent out to everybody, not the one reminding them about the meeting tonight, but the previous one, was instructions on how to go about getting a linked troop registered, since a lot of the unit numbers do not exist in the registration for Black Pug. Okay, so there's like a 5 or 6 step process where you have to let our director of field service know that you're interested in going to camp. He lets our person who runs the registration for Black Pug know that they're approved to be registered. They assign you a 9,000 digit number, and then you go in and register as your unit until you get your solid number. And then when you get your number, then we change it to your actual number. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Joel. Don't forget to unmute yourself, Joel.
He doesn't know how to unmute his phone, but his question on the screen says 10 scouts for the older boy program. Don't remember hearing this before. We have 4 planning on taking it just from our troop. Is the ATB charge on top of the older scout program fee? So $45 plus $45 question mark.
So those are 2 separate programs, and I'll scroll down here. The ATV program is a separate program, and there's an additional fee that WASP next door is charging us to utilize that program. It's $35 per scout. The older Scout program, which is all the different activities and what have you that run from 2 to 5 p.m., is $45 per Scout because we have to pay for the tubing, the water skiing, the horseback riding, and the canoe trip. Okay, so it's a combination of those 3 activities that equate to the $45. So yes, if a Scout's going to do the older Scout Adventure, which is, I mean, they're not going to be able to do ATV and older Scout Adventure. They're going to have to either pick because there's only, you know, they run during the same time frame. But basically, those 2 programs are offered for 16 Scouts across the camp. And I'm limited to those numbers from our neighbors next door. Otherwise, I'd love to expand those. And it's actually kind of a test to see how well they were received. And if they are received really well, then we'll try and do our best to expand it next year. But with all the excitement about building stronger older Scout programming, this was one of those pieces to help do that. Thank you for whoever helped with the question. Derek, you had a question.
Not a question, just a statement about clarification about the girl troop numbers. They will all have a G after their number.
That is news. You are correct. All right. Seeing that, we're gonna move on. Does anybody have any questions about the Cub Scout Adventureland leader guidebook at all? And activities going on over there? Again, I would encourage you, if you work with a Cub Scout pack or whatever, to there's a better model, in my opinion, that we need to try and work towards with our Cub Scouts going to camp. And I would encourage you to help them understand that it's probably best for a lion and tiger den, current lion and tiger den, to attend day camp. And their current wolf and bears attend Cub Scout resident camp. And then their Webelos attend the Webelos Adventureland, and their Arrow Light Scouts attend with you as a troop Boy Scout summer camp. Because I think in the past we've really kind of just, you know, shot it out there, hey, go to camp, you know, here's a couple different options. But if the entire den was to work to get every one of their Scouts to camp, they'd have a better job of retaining those Scouts and making them, helping them move down the path towards their Arrow Light and their Eagle. All right, so moving on. So when talking,
Ryan,
yes.
Are you serious about Arrow of Lights going to camp with a Scout troop, or is that a misstatement?
Current Arrow Lights would be crossing over to.
So you're not talking about the Arrow of Lights moving into next fall. You're talking about those who just crossed over into camp or who are now Boy Scouts, no longer Arrow of Lights.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Absolutely. So this is where I need some help with everybody. And if you've got a tip or a trick or a trade or what have you, I'd like to just kind of foster a conversation about sample parent meetings and what you should talk about and how to get parents engaged with going to camp. So I've listed a number of items. Basically, the first one is assign a camp coordinator. You know, identify a parent, someone that's not the Scoutmaster, someone that's not the committee chairman, some parent that is able and willing to go to camp and be a part of the operation, that would go and spend time on these webinars, spend time getting the information, doing what Mary had talked about with building the discussion platforms for what they're going to sign up for and understanding the fees and going online, what have you, right? It's very key. And when you get down to the Cub Scout side of things, it's almost that you try and work in each of the dens to identify one of those camp coordinators to encourage each of their Cub Scouts in each of the dens to participate in summer camp, may it be day camp or a resident camp. Conduct a unit elections with your OA chapter. So I hope that each of you as a Boy Scout troop has done so with being a Gerber Scout Camp and the legendary or the Arrow partnership that we have. I would encourage each and every one of you to to work to get more scouts elected in the Order of the Arrow and participate in that program. It only helps your troop out that much more. Camperships available, we talked about, that's a big thing to talk about with your families. I would suggest that you just print out maybe the couple pages that are in the leader's guide that has the worksheet and the links to the information. So you can hand those out to families that are interested in camperships, or maybe central registry clearance. That's a big thing. Any adults attending needs to make sure that they get that taken care of. Suggested items to bring to camp. We have that whole page on items available, or that we suggest that as a scout you bring into camp, or as a troop you bring to camp. That's an important thing. A lot of the parents don't, I remember my first year to camp, I brought like a foot locker and a backpack and a sleeping bag. And I mean, it was almost a truck bed full of equipment, and I probably only needed like a third of it. And so, working with those scouts to better refine what they need and what they should bring is important.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is John, JRM, John Miller, another John Miller. Got a quick question on that central registry, backing up to it. We've got a number of leaders that have been there, or adults that have been there, but it's been a couple of years. Do we need to re-register them, or are their registrations from 3 or 4 years ago still valid?
It's a good question. I'm clicking on the link right now that discusses it. I believe that
central registry is every year.
So they have to redo it every year?
Yes.
Okay.
No, central registry is only every year if you are a child care provider, and you do throughout the year. Being for summer camp, the state lets us get away with having the individual registered anytime within the last 7 years, and we have that on record.
Okay, so I'll make sure that my adults then that have done it in the past have copies of what they received in the past and have that available for us.
So John, I would suggest, if you have questions about who is and who is not submitted those to camp.
Okay.
That brings up a good point, and that's something that I'll look into, try and fix or identify or what have you. It'd be almost good if I provided each of the units a list of who we have on file that needs to re-up that.
Okay.
I'll try and work on that, in next year and years to come. But as of right now, it's probably just best practice just to have each of your adults get in the routine of doing that each year. Because honestly, it's kind of like youth protection. If you do it and you don't do it for 6-7 years, you're running into the risks of what happened during those last 6-7 years. So
yeah, it was a major topic of discussion at our committee meeting today. So I'll pass that on, and we'll make it, because we were with you. We spent the last 2 years at a camp in Indiana, but we've come back due to a variety of reasons. But we just want to make sure we got all our things covered with that central registration.
Yeah, I think it's just best practice to try and build that into the thing that, just like you get your BSA medical records done each year, you work to get that done as well.
Sounds good. I'll pass that on. Thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. All right, so planning their scout activities, we kind of hit that one with Mary. Great practice there. Payment and procedures, I encourage you, maybe next year I can work on developing some type of template for you to help you with, defining or handing out information to your parents that says, all right, we need this by this date, this by this date, this by this date, and so on. But this year, the best I could do is provide you the leader's guidebook. And when you think of those things that we should be working to do better, I'd encourage you to shoot me an email, or if you have something that works really well for you, your unit that you don't mind sharing, I would love to see what great things you guys are doing. So when it comes to payments and procedures, I know that's a big one, because that's different for every unit. BSA annual health and medical records, again, those are online. You can click, there's a link on the website to download those and get those taken care Sooner you guys get those, the better. I do know that we have to hang on to those, so I encourage you to bring multiple copies to camp. That way you have a set you can turn in and then a set that you can hang on to for your purposes. Wednesday night family potluck plans. We are going to continue that process. I would, I've heard of units that do a fish fry. I've heard of units that do a potluck. I've heard of units that go out and order pizza from a local vendor. It all varies, but this is a time to just reflect midweek on what your scouts have learned and how much fun you're having and really invite the families up to see their scouts and learn the cool things that they've done over the last 2 days and what have you. Schedule for when heading to and returning from camp. This is a big one. If I was a scout or I was a parent, having this information, in a clear, concise format would be important because, parents sometimes, this is the first time that they sent their kid away to camp. And a lot of them are really nervous about it. And a lot of them wish that they could probably attend, but can't. So, the clearer that we can be with our families and helping them learn and know what's happening and how it's working and what's going on is important. All right. Any other, I'm gonna open it up to for you guys to unmute yourself and share any thoughts, comments, concerns. I'm gonna step away for just a quick second. I'll be right back.
I just thought I'd make a comment about the merit badges and what we've done in the past. We've developed a Google form that we send out to our parents with basically reproducing the grid that you see, and it's worked real well for us. Then we have a spreadsheet that's generated by Scout that gives us their first and second choices for each of the different opportunities out there. So if you have access to doing something like that, I would highly recommend it.
I put the details in the text string, but just real quick, Ryan was talking about people bringing way too much stuff. What we found, especially we've got a little bit larger troop and trying to carry everything up there, is we went to the Sterilite 23-gallon totes. They sell them at Walmart for like $20. They work perfect. We tell the scouts everything must fit in it, including a sleeping bag, bug poles, stuff like that. Some scouts leave them outside of the tent because they're waterproof. They're the perfect height to slide underneath the cots. Yep. So they can pull them back out in the center when they want to get stuff or play cards on top of them, use them as tabletop. But the other nice thing is in trailers or backs of pickups, they stack and nest very well together versus various backpacks and bags. So if anybody's new to going to camp and not sure how to pack everything up, I'd strongly suggest those.
Are you hauling those totes up to campsite in your trailer?
Yeah, we have one big trailer, so we put them all in, and then we have one vehicle that pulls them back to the campsite to unload them, and then go back out to the parking lot.
Yeah, just was curious because I've had kids try to use wheeled suitcases before. That's always an adventure in the sand.
Oh, yeah. These actually have wheels on one side, but, yeah, it doesn't work when you're at camp.
All right, so I'm back. Steve S., you had talked about your new parent step-by-step document. Do you mind sharing any details on that?
Sure. What I was doing is, as I was learning how to use the registration website myself, I started taking screenshots and create a Word document with arrows to kind of direct the parents where they need to go to step through the registration process when we give them the login credentials to register their child's merit badges. And the first year I used that was last year. I had pretty good results with that, and I'm just going to keep tweaking it with the different changes for each year to try and just help them along, because biggest question I get is, how do I register? What do we do? And it seemed to smooth things out pretty good having that ready to go for them.
Wonderful. Thanks, Steve. If you don't mind sharing, shoot me an email with that, and I'll
Sure.
share it out to as many people as we can, or we can bring it up at the next roundtable. Don Kennedy, you had a question about hammocks.
Yeah. Are we running a camp with hammocks, not with hammocks? What's the story?
We're running camp with hammocks or not with hammocks?
I mean, we have kids that bring them to the site, and then becomes a big, hey, I'm a 14-year-old, I get to use a hammock. All the young kids see it's cool, and then they want to do it. I just have found it to be a pain, and I just personally wish we'd say, hey, hammocks are bad for the trees.
I think that's a thing that you need to decide as a troop, and make your own troop rule. Okay.
Okay.
So I'd encourage that you keep that within your troop area, because it would be really hard for me to do that as a.
Yep. No worries. Yep. Okay.
Joel Shoemaker, you had a comment. Joel, if you're on the phone, if you hit I think *6, you'll unmute yourself. All right. Well, we'll move on. Jim, Kuzminski?
Good, Jimski. Close enough.
Sorry, I'm terrible with names. You had a note?
Yeah, actually, when you stepped away, I just shared it with everybody.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Jennifer.
Yeah, is there room on each site to bring our troop tents in and not sleep in the Army style tents?
I mean, you could, but the tents that we provide are pretty, in my opinion, they're pretty convenient. They're on cement pads with cots and mattresses. So it's much better than what they used to be. I mean, when I was a camper, it used to be on dirt, and there was a wooden duckboard that went in between it. But we've come a long way from the past days. So
I know there's also a concern. They've got pretty much all the camping areas set up with those pads and tents. So if you start putting down individual tents, they want all the roadways kept clear in the pathways if there's an emergency and somebody's got to run through.
Absolutely.
So we got to be careful of that too.
Yep.
Jennifer, in past years, every single year we've gone to summer camp, which is every year I've been in scouting. There's lots of room if you want to bring your own tent. And I know in past years, Ryan, the scout, whatever the title, your job title is, has always said we could either use the green Army tents or bring their own personal tents. And our troop does both. And there's always plenty of room, Jennifer, at each campsite to pitch tents if you want to bring some tents.
Yeah, and I would, Jennifer, I would encourage you to just make sure you clear that with Charlie Brown, our camp ranger. So again, he knows that before you get here by June 1st, before camp starts, so that he can prepare and be ready for that when you get here and help coordinate any efforts that you need. Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Mary. You had a question about bikes.
Yes. In the past years, scouts have been allowed to bring bikes. Our troop rule is that we don't bring bikes unless you're in the biking merit badge, but I noticed there isn't a biking merit badge this year, which I'm kind of thankful for. Are scouts allowed to bring bikes? My hope is no.
They can bring bikes. They just have to make sure they bring helmets and that they stay on the roads. They can't travel on the paths. So. Yeah, I mean,
and like last year, it was crazy with the bikers. They were biking everywhere, and wasn't necessarily safe for all of us that were hiking.
Sure, absolutely. So yeah, again, they just need to make sure that they bring the helmets, and there's a whole policy in the guidebook in regards to bikes. Stephen, you had a question about troop trailer and site. Yes, you can keep your troop trailer in the site. We just ask that you move the car back up to the parking lot. Craig, you had a question.
Yeah, it looks like it was answered a little bit there. I had seen in red on the leader's guide about everybody who's staying at camp overnight be registered with BSA. And then I assumed it was probably the case, but I figured I would just ask that even if they're part-time and non-leaders, that they should be YPT trained as well.
Absolutely. Anybody that's registered with Boy Scouts needs to be youth protection trained. That's a mandatory training now with the registration for scouting. So again, along with that would be the central registry clearance as well. So
cool. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Parents' night, youth protection required for anyone visiting. Parents are parents. You know, I'd encourage that any of the parents that are coming up, that they consider doing the central registry clearance. I'm going to defer to Joe. Joe, could you help me with this question about parents visiting on Wednesday night, if they need the central registry clearance or not? Singerling?
Yeah, the parents who are registered with Central Registry need to be in the company of another adult. They don't have to, but when they're just visiting. But if they're planning on staying overnight, they have to have the Central Registry clearance.
There you go. There's the answer to that. Thank you, Joe. Yes, absolutely. If you bring your own tents, we'll have to really look up where you put your tents because of water lines and what have you. I'd encourage you not to bring your own tents, though. It's just more of a hassle for you. But we can work on it together. That's fine. All right. So other things to identify or to talk about during your parent meetings. Identify leaders in camp for the week. You know, this is a big thing. You know, if you're looking for some. If you got one of those parents that are like, you know, only if we could get Bob or Sally to step up a little bit more, maybe we can, you know, get them into a certain role. Well, this is a great opportunity to get them to come up for, you know, a couple days this summer and really, you know, get excited about scouting. So, you know, if you got some of those parents that are kind of on the fence of getting involved, this is a great way to get them more involved in reality. Schedule time to discuss rules, regulations for camp. I would encourage you to make sure that your SPL leads that conversation. You know, the last few pages of the leader guidebook where it talks about the rules and regulations. You know, I remember when I was a scout that you know, it wasn't the adult telling us what we can and can't do. It was my best friend telling me what we can and can't do, and that we had to, you know, wear, you know, closed-toed shoes the entire week, and I wasn't very excited about that. But you know, I followed those rules stronger because it was my friend telling me instead of some adult, right? If it was an adult telling me, I'd probably say, screw off, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Uniforms needed during camp. The field uniforms, you know, the tans and the greens. I encourage you to look the best you can. You know, a better looking troop is get a better starting experience, and they're showing off that they are the best, and you know, we are to do our best, and I encourage that best you can. Homesick Scout Plan. So in the book, there's some detailed information about homesick scouts and how to really deal with that. I'll tell you that a fond friend of mine used to keep $1 coins in his car. And the reason he kept those $1 coins in his car was because when he saw a scout that was sitting there, you know, kicking dirt and playing with sticks and not having too much fun, you go up to him and ask him, "What's going on? You want a Coke? I'll go buy you a Coke. Come on, let's get a Coke out of the training post." And they'd sit down and have a conversation about camp and all the fun things that they're doing, and it would help to encourage that boy to stay. So if any of you scout leaders come up this summer, I would encourage you to carry around a couple $1 coins and give that young man a $1 coin to go buy a pop at the trading post and have a conversation. Special dietary needs and request form. There's one online. I encourage everybody to try and do their best. I know that a lot of people are eating different than what they've used to do in the past. People are more particular about what they eat and how they eat and what have you, which is fine. I totally get it. Trust me, I do. But to make sure that you guys have the best day you can, I just need to know that we need to know that information as soon as we can so that we can plan and prepare. And especially with, the track record that we have in the dining hall, I'm trying to do my best to make sure we have the strongest individuals in there and prepared well to make sure that you guys see that that's going to happen. So if you have parents that have scouts that on a regular basis, when you go on troop campouts and that kind of stuff that have special dietary needs and they don't get you that form, make sure that you work with them to get that out to them ahead of time. How to visit as a parent and daily fees. There's a $33 daily fee that covers all your meals if a parent was to come up. That's all online and available. Scouts leaving early procedures. It's all in the leader's guide. Make sure you read through that and you communicate that with your parents. Make sure your parents understand that we can't just let any child just leave with anyone. There are policies and procedures that the state law requires us to do. And it's part of their BSA medical forms, that things that they have to have on there to allow someone to leave with somebody. So make sure you have that conversation. Troop cell phone policy. I know cell phones are basically part of many of our young men and women's lives, and they sometimes don't leave their hands, but I want to leave it up to each of the troops to define. Kind of like how Don was talking about the hammocks. I'm not going to ban cell phones on camp. I'll tell you right now that the reception on camp is not the greatest. So they're probably not going to work very well while they're there. And the scouts will be hiking around trying to find reception. They'll probably burn more calories trying to find reception of cell phones than they will actually on the phone. Accommodations at camp, you really want to have a conversation with your parents about what to bring, what not to bring. I know that the Scout store sells these really nice bug nets. They're like you guys ever seen those pool floaties that kind of bind up into a circle, and you undo them and they flop out? Well, they have those for the bug nets, and they're really nice. They're available. I think it's called the Mosquito Oasis. They're at the Scout store. I'm going to try and carry some of those during the week at summer camp, but I can't guarantee that I'll keep them in stock. Okay, but having some type of bug net is really important for the kids.
Bugs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your bug problem at Gerber pales in comparison to what we went through at Randsburg and in Indiana the last 2 years. You don't have any bugs.
Yeah. Well, everybody has their different opinion on that. I remember hiking in Wisconsin, and I remember hiking in the mountains up in Wyoming, and I swear to you, I've never eaten so many bugs because they were so bad. We were.
I just kind of laugh about it after the last couple of years down in Randsburg, where we're in southern Indiana, and that was a nightmare.
Absolutely. So again, I want to hit on the pre-order of the t-shirts and the unit photos. That's just going to save you guys time. And honestly, your scouts, when they come to camp and we don't have a t-shirt that they want, I don't want that to be a disappointment. I'm going to do our best to keep that trading post stocked with items and everything. But at least if they pre-order those, it gives you fulfillment that they actually got something from when they come. Adult activities and signups online. Again, I want to stress that we haven't done that in the past, I don't believe, and I really want to try and push that as best we can moving forward. That, you know, I would encourage every adult to try and sign up for something, right? Go out and have some fun. There's a lot of cool new things that we're doing, conservation wise, introduction to outdoor leadership skills wise, and so on. So any other questions, concerns about parent meetings or discussions? Let me see here. Kim Mast, you had a question. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Let's see. So right now, the food for
the form for food allergies online links to the job application site. All right, I will look into that. Special dietary needs underneath the forms and resources should bring up the go under forms and resources, and you scroll down to right here, food service special dietary request form. It's like the 4th down under Boy Scout camp. If you click that, it should take you to the special summer camp dietary requests. So I know that in the email that the MCC sent out with the video of Aaron Gatch and I, a lot of those links were kind of jumbled. So I apologize for that. I realize that, but it's hard to go back and fix an email that you already sent. So in that email that we sent, the links were mixed up, but they're there. So, but if you go to Outdoor Adventures at Michigan Crossroads Forms and Resources, it's like the 4th down on Boy Scout camp.
Ryan, quick question. Don't we put the dietary needs when we register each person on the Black Pug? There's a spot for it. Right on the Black Pub, there's a dietary.
Okay, there may be, but I wouldn't rely 100% on that.
Don't rely on that. Okay, because I always have put that. That could explain why I've not always had my dietary.
Yeah, I would utilize this online form because you know, there's a lot going on in that Black Pug registration, and honestly, I'm trying to do my best to wrap my head around everything. So if you can utilize this form on the website, this would probably be the safest place.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, absolutely. Brian Boyer, you had a question.
Yeah, just when do you think that system is going live for merit badges on Wednesday then?
8 a.m.
Thank you.
Yep. Sean, you had a question.
Couple of them. One, I've got a family that their daughter can eat like 3 foods. So the mom has gotten very good at bringing the whole meal for the week with her that kind of matches up with what's being served. Is there any kind of storage for that or not so much?
Absolutely. I'd be more than happy to work with that. Again, you know, make sure to fill out the dietary request form and let us know that information. And I'll work through our food service director to make sure there's space available for that. I will tell you all that I'm contemplating going back to the family style dinners, which might help us with the food special dietary needs, because a lot of that revolves around the dinner aspect of things. So I'm hoping that that's going to help improve our experience in the kitchen or in the dining hall and in the kitchen every evening. All right, and you said you had another question, Sean?
Something that I was going to bring up later too. I thought I saw some information on a new tech center or something for the adults.
So the tech center that used to host a number of merit badges, I'm working to revamp that into a Scoutmaster lounge. where we'll have computers available that are connected hardline to internet so that you can go in there and be away from the kids and get a cup of coffee and sit down and look through the requirements that need to be done and what have you, print up your sheets and all that kind of stuff. Just a place to get away, and they'll have internet capacity. I'm doing my best to make a lot of these changes and make them convenient happen this summer. If there's anybody that knows how to put some flooring down or is interested in helping me put that together, I'm looking for some volunteerism, because I got to put a floor in. We got to get a cat line running from the office over to the tech center. We've got to, move a bunch of stuff from the DeVos Family Center for Scouting up to that facility and get the computers set up. I mean, there's a lot of things in motion to make camp 100 times better than it was last summer. And
what type of flooring?
It's tile flooring. We got piles and piles of tile flooring, like 1-inch tile squares that need to be put
glued down, not cemented.
No, they would be I forgot the name of the type, but it's that almost like
interlocking.
Huh?
They interlock.
No, it's just like sheets of tile.
Like Pergo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're thin set.
Thin set. Thank you.
Hey, Ryan.
They're regular ceramic tile that are thin set down.
Yep.
Probably can't help with that.
Hey, Ryan, my unit's coming out week 1, and I'll touch base with you separately, but we might be able to help you out with some of that type of stuff, both with our older scouts looking for service hours and some of our adult leaders that we might be able to accommodate some of the help that you might need there. So I'll touch base with you separately.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
I was going to say, is there a cleanup day, cleanup weekend, project weekend?
Well, I mean, the Order of the Arrow will be up there the May 16, 17 or something like that. That will be working on a lot of these things and doing a bunch of different things. But some of these projects will be on the side that we'll just be tackling. So
now, I'm bringing 20 adults, and we got a large number of different availabilities. So we'll touch base between now and then and see what we can do to help you out with week 1.
Excellent. All right.
Brian,
yes?
This is Robin. I have a question. On your shirt orders, in the book, it says there's an extra charge for the larger sizes. Do you know what that charge is?
I believe it's $3.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Brian Boyer, you had a question. Nope. Don, did you have a question?
No, I'm good.
All right. Brian Boyer, looks like you had another question. Time for merit badge system? Oh, we already covered that. Sorry, I'm just reading through these. Becky asks, can an adult call or come to the office the week of troop schedule to camp and join in without pre-registering? Work conflicts prevent them from registering now. They work on a call job, no mic. If troop wants to do service projects before camp, are there things that can be done? Who is the contact? So any pre-camp service projects that we're looking to accomplish, I would encourage everybody to work through Charlie Brown and just let him know that you're interested to work, coming up, or, hey, we want to come up and do some things, or, hey, I can tell you right now, there's like 3 campsites that are left for the adult adopt a campsite program, which has a lot to do with that in preparation, getting it going. So Charlie is our first line of defense with camp projects and what have you. As far as people coming up midweek and what have you, Joel Singerling, can you help me answer the question about adults coming in without pre-registering for the couple days?
Yes, they can. They just need to pay. They need to have, if they're going to stay overnight, they need to be registered with BSA and have the whatever training, youth protection training. But yes, they can come anytime during the week and spend time supervising your troop.
And I would assume, Joe, that they would need their DHS clearance form and BSA medical record.
Yep, all of that, the training and the BSA registration and the DHS can be done long before they would be trying to come up to camp. So as a possibility that they're going to come, have them get that done, and then just come up to camp. They come into the office, see me, and we'll work it out.
All right. Thank you, Joe. All right, I'm going to move on because I'm running out of time, and I want to share a couple more things with you. First and foremost is if you went to the michiganscouting.org and you clicked on Outdoor Adventures, scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a video tab for the 2 videos promoting camp. And I wanted to show these to you guys so you can see them firsthand and share them with your scouts and scouters. I'm going to show the Cub Scout one and then the Boy Scout one. All right, so you kind of get the concept of the Cub Scout one. It goes through and highlights all the different program areas. Again, that's available on the website. So if you have a Cub Scout pack that you're working with, make sure that they know that. They can download that video and make it available. I want to show quickly the Boy Scout one. So again, that's available on the website. Here I can show you where that went. Right here, you can see that we have all the camps: Cole, Rotary, Gerber, D-Bar-A, Great Lakes Sailing Adventure. If you haven't done that as a troop, I'd encourage you to figure out how you can get on that boat. That's an awesome experience. All the MCC camps, and then Cub Scout and so on. So great sources, and all of them you can download and save onto your computer and utilize for later on. But those are available. Lastly, I just want to highlight that there are a handful of merit badges that actually have prerequisites. One of them being art. Fingerprinting does not. Those 2 merit badges will be offered together, so they'll actually earn those 2 merit badges as throughout the week. Camping, canoeing, communication, emergency prep, emergency or environmental science, first aid, fishing, fly fishing, forestry, game design, kayaking, life saving, oceanography, reptile, amphibian, sculpture, and wilderness survival are all merit badges. Out of the 38 that we have, those are the few that have actual prerequisites that they'll need to either earn before or after. Hopefully they can earn those before. Work with your unit serving executive to identify a merit badge counselor if you need it. Again, we highlighted this once before, camperships. I think we kind of really dove down on it, but on the website is all the information. It's got a couple links where you can click here to proceed to the worksheet, which you can print off and use this as a document to fill out before you actually go in and submit the campership for your scouts. But I can tell you that the individuals up in Traverse City raised last 2 years almost $27,000 for camperships just in Traverse City region for young men to go to camp, and that's huge. So Wednesday night activity, we talked about this a little bit, but 12:30 you're going to come and get your lunch to cook from Merrill Dining Hall at 11. So make sure you got scouts going out to pick that up. If you want to add to it, it's going to be your standard tinfoil dinner, so to speak. So, you know, if the smart scoutmaster would bring other things to add to that, like beets and other fun, exciting things to make the scouts jealous, you know, shrimp or what have you. But what's
Bring
that?
your venison.
Venison, yeah. fresh bluegill from the lake.
There you go.
Gee, I never thought of that, man.
Yeah, right. So 4 p.m. All the areas will close so that you guys have ample time to prepare for your family potlucks. A lot of units, and I just want to kind of go around the fence if there's anybody that's utilized a unique experience for the family potluck, if they wanted to share. Anyone?
I'll just say we're an out-of-district council or out of council group. We come from Chicagoland area, and we've done the pizza in the past, and we've had a few parents come over, and doing pizza from the local place works real well for our people. Plus, it's less work for our guys when it comes to trying to cook something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you that I've seen units go to an extent where they'll actually do a fish fry, and they'll the first couple days they'll start catching bluegills or whatever, or they'll bring a bunch of different stuff with them and do that. Any other comments about Wednesday night potluck that anybody wants to share?
Yeah, we've done Dutch oven pizzas, and 2 years ago our troop leader did a Dutch oven turkey.
Oh, outstanding. You know, this is a great opportunity for some scoutmaster to bring a smoker and do up smoke a turkey or some ribs or whatever. You know, I'd be more than happy to come visit and make sure that food's safe if you're interested. But be creative. You know, figure out ways to make this an experience for your scouts. You know, like he was talking about with the Dutch oven pizzas. You know, maybe Wednesday night host a Dutch oven cook-off for your scouts and create some cool, exciting awards or something for them.
I will say this. We will invite those units that are from out of council. We're a larger unit. We're going to bring 60, 70 boys, and we'll do a Dutch oven cobbler cook-off and do desserts, and then we'll have a little campfire program, especially for those units that can't have all their parents come over. So just know that if you're there at week 1, 889 and 1776 from Naperville, Illinois, will have the out of district or out of council units over for a little shindig of our own.
Wonderful, excellent. And
What
then
unit number was that?
That's 889. That's our boy troop, and our brand new girl troop 1776. That'll be week 1.
Yes, because we'll be there same time.
So, like I said, we invite the outer councils to come over because I know a lot of the parents can't make it over, especially our parents from Chicago. It's a 4-hour drive and it's tough on them.
Yeah. I would encourage those units that are still from out of council to, if you do participate in the Order of the Arrow, to have your scouts called out at the Wednesday night ceremony. We're gonna really turn it up this year and make that a memorable experience, as it should. You know, I remember back in the day when, you know, there was parents crying that they were so proud that they came up Wednesday night to be a part of that program and what have you. So.
You guys do a fabulous job, and I'll see if I can get my lodge to agree to allow that to happen.
Yeah, you should. All you have to do is just get a letter from your lodge advisor or whatever saying that they can be called out. So
yeah, I'll work on that because you guys do a fabulous job.
Excellent. All right. So again, on the website, forms and resources, there's all kinds of information and tricks and trades and things to look at. You know, so please make sure to visit that. We'll just cover this briefly. Adult leader needs. I would encourage you again to read the leader guidebook and just go through it. You know, adult supervision is in all the most important piece in this whole operation. You know, having someone that can really be able to guide these young men and women and make sure that it's a safe environment in their unit is truly important. You guys are the ones that make this experience possible. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the work that you do and have done and will do to make this summer camp experience possible. I think we've kind of hit the comments and questions pretty hard. I will note that our next roundtable is scheduled for April 7th. Each one of these is going to highlight a different piece of the summer camp leading up to. I will go around the room and ask if there's any other further questions from anyone. And if not, just say pass, but we'll start with Craig Zoner.
I'm good. Pass. Thank you.
All right, Don H.
No, I'm all set. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Jennifer.
Yeah, is there actually a PLC week that our PLCs can go before our troop is scheduled to camp?
A PLC, so expand on that. You mean like a camp open house weekend where they can go and prepare for camp?
No, there's other camps that are PLCs actually get to go a whole week or two prior so they can get all their merit badges done out of the way. So then they could strictly just deal with PLC items when they're at summer camp with the troop.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't thought of that, but I will tell you that I'm looking at summer 2020, developing a venturing week where it's all devoted to venture scouts, and also a whole week devoted to Order of the Arrow. But I'll look into if you have some examples. If you want to email me some of the summer camps that offer that type of program, I'd be more than happy to look into it and see if that's something we could do in 2020. But currently we do not have. I mean, we have the provisional scouting program where a scout from any troop could come up without leadership of their troop and participate for an entire week, just as a regular scout. So that's being offered every week except for week 2. But that's the closest thing I can think of in regards to what you're talking about, Jennifer.
Okay, thanks.
Mary, any further questions, comments, concerns? You're muted.
Pass.
All right, thank you. Sean.
Real quick on I read something in the manual about the swimming pre-check, and we're kind of got a couple opinions on that. We weren't sure how the process is.
So online there is there's a form for that. Kind of like there's an app for that, but there's a form for that. It basically explains it right out on what you have to do and how you need to do it. I'm not too familiar, just to be flat out honest with you on this whole thing, because this is kind of new to me. But it's all explained in here, and how to do it, where to go, what to do, who to turn it into, and so on.
Perfect.
I can help answer that, because we have used that form now for the past 2 or 3 years, and we just go to our local pool, well, we've been fortunate that at this local school pool, one of the swim staff, I guess you could say, the aquatic staff, is a swimming merit badge counselor, but then several of us are in our troop to give the test, and we do the test right in the local pool. Usually we do it like April or May.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely, Sean. Paul, Connor.
Yeah, do we have a theme decided for this year?
The overall arching theme, I think that the leadership team's still working on it. I know that each day the evening activities are themed. So like one day we're doing cowboy rodeo activities. One day we're doing ninja warrior. Another day we're doing the Thursday night we're doing a parade. So we're asking each of the units to bring a wagon and decorate it as a float and put their youngest scout that's there that week in the float to carry around for the parade. And we'll lead all the scouts that are the young scouts that aren't participating in the OA to a carnival game activities area. So in that leader's guide under evening activities, those are the type of theme things that we're doing. So I'd encourage you to, if you've got scouts that want to come dressed up as ninjas, or come dressed up as, cowboys, or come dressed up as clowns,
Ryan.
Yes.
Do you remember the Vikings last year?
No, I don't remember the Vikings last year.
Okay, well, 283 came quite prepared with the whole campsite and everything, so they're anxiously awaiting a theme to set up their camp. So.
Oh, well, I mean, you don't have to wait on us to create your own theme,
Okay.
You asked for it.
Oh my.
Just make sure it's scout appropriate, okay?
Oh, it will be.
If they have to ask, it isn't.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, welcome. John, was it John or Jim?
Yeah.
John, do you have anything else to share?
I'm good. I'll pass.
All right, great. Kim Mast, anything to share? No. I'm guessing that's Bo Williams.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Becky? Becky going once, going twice. Moving on to Brian Boyer.
Yeah, our medical officer last year filled out all of the health record forms prior to coming to camp, and then found out we had a new form and had to spend the entire night redoing all the medical forms. Do we know what those medical forms that we need to fill out are, and if we can get them in advance so he can fill them out rather than...
Absolutely. So if you went to MichiganSky.org under Outdoor Adventures Forms and Resources, right down, hold on, I'm waiting for it to load.
Was it routine drug administration?
There is the, where is it?
It was that it'd go up. It was routine drug administration. Is that the one we needed to fill out?
No.
Daily?
No. That's if your scouts are, if you have scouts that are need, if they're distributing medicine throughout the week.
That's what we're doing. That's the forms we're talking about. I'm sorry. I said health forms. I meant whatever forms for our meds at camp. Yes.
Yeah, and this is what you need to fill out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But the BSA medical record, is the other piece. All right, Joel Shoemaker, are you able to, you have anything to share, if you can share?
Yeah, now that you finally told an old man how to turn it on, now I'll pass.
Oh, you're gonna pass on us now, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Steve S.
All set.
Thank you, sir. And last but not least, Mr. Scott Hagler.
I don't have anything to add at this time.
Okay. All right, well then, if that's that, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for going on actually an hour past what we had scheduled to discuss. I'm hoping that this was helpful for you, just as it was helpful for me. You know, I'm going to offer these every month, first Sunday of the month on a Sunday at 8 o'clock to share insight and development and progress towards a legendary summer camp experience. But other than that, I'm going to let you guys go and go finish celebrating my wife's birthday today. So if there are no further questions, thanks everybody for joining us, and thanks for being part of the team.
She's a saint for taking that time out to let you do this.
Well, we've got a pretty good partnership going right now, so thank you.
All of our significant others are.
Absolutely. All right, thanks everybody.